Have you ever wondered why your screenplay wasn't good enough to pass through the endless gatekeepers in order to meet the eyes of a massive audience? Have you ever wanted to know and master the steps to great comedy writing in the modern era? Well, look no further than Velma, the hit show that's all the rage, because a hate watch is still a watch. And I'm here to help you with some key ingredients that will turn that trash can fire of a regular screenplay into a dumpster fire no one can ignore.
Let me just find my mark here. Let's go!
The first mistake new writers make is creating their own unique character. This is wrong. Originality will win you no points in this business. Where is the built-in audience? How are corporations going to market your show if it isn't with an already well-established character? How are you going to sneak in your agenda with a character no one is familiar with? You didn't think of that, did ya? Now, I'm not saying you can't write what you want, because you can. You just need some of that sweet, sweet nostalgia bait going to reel them in. People love remembering things, and you remember how much people like that one character from that one show you can't remember the name of? That's a perfect character to use. Now, to practice like a pro, you need to set a timer like a pro. Give yourself 2 hours to write your entire screenplay. This might not seem like enough time to research and study the character you're reimagining, because it's not. So you might want to watch a couple 3-minute montage clips before diving in and really putting in the work. But here's the rub. Do not rehash an old story. Audiences hate reused plots, unless it's set in a multiverse. If you have a multiverse plot, this is a great device where anything can happen. If people do not agree with it, you can just say that this is one multiverse in which an infinite amount of storylines that don't make sense exists. It's so easy. But what if you don't have a multiverse all set up and ready to go? Fear none, because you always have the origin story. Origin stories are great because your guess is as good as anyone else's on how your stolen character came about. Indiana Jones is probably from Indiana, or why else would his name be Indiana? His life on the farm out there was probably really something neat. Have fun with it. So now your parameters are set. You don't know what your story's going to be about, but who cares? You got some comedy to write. And you know what millennials like these days? Meta humor. With meta humor, you can flip the script and blatantly point to yourself and the show you're trying to write. It's an easy way to get the audience on board with what you're trying to say by simply addressing them. You never have to worry about things called nuance or subtext or symbolism. Being meta takes care of all of that by doing none of it. That's right, you can take your material and point directly at it. Therefore, if not one joke lands, you can point to the fact that the script was meta, and that's what makes it funny all in itself. Sure, no one's going to rewatch it due to it being a massive waste of time. But you already got the views and now the excuse. It's beautiful. Being meta is a sophisticated and quick way to write without putting in any of the work.
See, now if this was a show, it'd be super hot if you two kissed.
Consider this practice when you make it big. Between getting your morning grande iced sugar-free vanilla latte with soy milk, your 11 a.m. yoga session on the roof before snacking on honey ricotta peach crostini with crispy pancetta for lunch, and sipping on red wine before it's 1 p.m., you're not going to have any time to think about story arcs or plot progressions. You gotta get some writing done before your 3 p.m. red raspberry leaf enema. Being meta means hijacking your character in order to say whatever you want. How cool is that? When you deploy this method of mirth, you've now taken control of the main character like some parasitic fungus that sends the host to its death. To a regular audience member, the character looks like a talking corpse. But remember, that doesn't matter because the writer can always fall back on the timeless phrase that wins over hearts and minds of everyone who doesn't like it. And that phrase being,
you just don't get it, do you? You don't.
This single phrase stuns the questioning audience member into thinking real hard about just how dumb they really are. Remember, they are the consuming peasants. You're the auteur, and you have a butthole cleansing in 2 hours that you're not prepared to pay the $50 cancellation fee on. But don't relax just yet. You're going to have to sweat over the keyboard just a little. Sometimes you're going to hit a snag where you realize your fungal writing is going to fail because, well, you ran out of things to say. So much white space to fill, so little to say. And there is no enema to fix that kind of brain constipation. Don't worry though, there's a combination to meta humor that will get you feeling regular again. And that is to point out all the cliches you put into your show. Now you might be thinking, aren't cliches bad? Oh, look at the rookie asking questions. That's so cute. What you need to do is flood the zone with every cliche you can think of. The more, the better. Now take that meta character of yours, the one not so cleverly disguised as you, and point out every cliche you shoehorned in. There, now it's magically not cliche anymore because your meta character, pointed out that they're fully aware of all the cliches. And get used to that word shoehorned. More on that later. The next step, make sure the meta character is as cynical as possible, with no redeeming quality to them. Because if there's one thing people love seeing themselves reflected in, it's inside a total and complete shithead of a character, doing and saying the worst things imaginable to other characters. It's a simple equation that will set you up for success. If your main character happens to be male, this is a no-no. What is wrong with you? Do you want to be laughed at? All this behavior is considered toxic and misogynistic, and in no way, shape, or form will your screenplay be greenlit. But swap the gender to female, and she's automagically no longer toxic. She's empowered. Her sociopathic behavior will be excused. Even if she enslaves an entire town like Wanda in WandaVision, she's just trying to survive and make sense of this crazy world. She can't be that bad. After all, she is a woman, and women can't be bad.
I don't understand this power, but I will. Goodbye, Monica.
Isn't she adorable when she's unapologetic for her actions? Slay, queen. And it's perfect because if any of this is pointed out, you now have the shield of feminists and white knights to answer for your twisted fantasies. But more often than you think, the white knights will fail you because they're mumbling, bumbling men. And if there's one thing I've learned, there is never such thing as too much protection. And that brings me to race swapping. Make sure to race swap as many characters as humanly possible. You do this under the representation umbrella. Anyone who dares to call you out on this move is the scariest thing you can call anyone. A racist. Second, make sure there's enough incompetent and dumb white people in the script in order to inject as much racist humor towards them as possible. But there's a trick with racist humor, and that is, it can only go one way. Unless your white character's racist joke is so ignorant and stupid, your audience is laughing at his stupidity and not at the joke itself. These jokes have been approved by the mainstream, so get while the getting's good.
I mean, not to oversimplify a thorny issue, but everyone loves it when white people play Jesus or a professional boxer.
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong. He did it. On TV shows, the malt shop owner is always a friendly black man or a spicy and meatball Italian. Narc. Narc. White girl with too much money. White girl with too much money.
Much like flooding the plot zone with cliches, if you flood your dialogue zone with this type of humor, the audience will not stop roaring with laughter. Now, you don't want to look too one-notish, so make sure to include as much shock humor as you can. Excessive nudity is okay, as long as you get meta with those fun bags. Because if you don't, you'll be accused of playing into the straight male fantasy. Remember to also get gross with it for no reason whatsoever. So have a couple characters like shit themselves or a couple of cockroaches bang each other or something. Think about it. What makes South Park funny isn't competent writing or sometimes heartfelt morals. Who remembers that crap? It's the pee-pee poo-poo humor that everybody remembers, not all that boring stuff that leads up to it like character arcs or quirky plots and development. So get a random fart in there. People love farts. Now, your script is looking pretty good and you're probably ready to write the end. What the hell is wrong with you? Where is your LGBT representation? Do you want to be considered a homophobe? This is where the word shoehorn really comes into play because you forgot this tiny demographic that has a very loud voice. Make sure to have at least one gay or lesbian couple in the show. But this alone is not enough. You must make sure you point out that they are gay every chance you get. I mean, really hammer it home that they're gay. The more fabulous, the better. Because, once again, and I cannot stress this enough, you are not trying to write something that will stand up to the test of time. You are trying to write something that will stand up to valid criticism. And there is no one you can't criticize more than the LGBT community. Look, I'll try. You see, it's physically impossible. And there you have it. A quick formula for writing a script for today's modern audiences and sensibilities. There's a lot of competition out there. But the nice thing is, most of those films and TV shows are so forgettable that your project just might be the next unforgettable train wreck. Having one of these elements is good. 2 or more is great. Find a way to incorporate them all, well, now you're cooking with gas and on your way to notoriety and getting your asshole unclogged. I'm out of here.